We are going to talk about the apparent murder of Rob and Michele Reiner. We're going to do some background. We're going to look at some LA Times reporting. We are going to talk about what is known. I am not going to speculate on what is unknown because we don't speculate on what is unknown. When there is breaking news and all of the facts are not known, I prefer to keep things more general. I am going to keep things more general until things play out in court. When I am unsure if things are going to have a court process, I tend to stay away from them more because the Reiner's son was already arrested and had an arraignment sent for today. Whether that arraignment gets put over or not, court process is already underway. And the fact that court process is underway so swiftly indicates to me that there is quite a lot of information that is known, that information is readily apparent, and that charges are imminent. It seems that the district attorney's office will be making charging decisions today. Rob Reiner's son arrested on suspicion of homicide as more details emerge about the shocking killings. This was published from December 14th and updated December 16th at 5:35 a.m. Pacific. I do appreciate very much when they put what time zone it was updated in. Thank you. Rob Reiner's son, Nick, was apprehended in South Los Angeles and arrested on suspicion of murdering his parents. Nick Reiner, 32, had cycled in and out of rehab centers and experienced bouts of homelessness. I am not going to touch on that more. It will come up in court. He was struggling. That has been largely reported and discussed. It is reported that family friends said that Rob Reiner and his son, Nick, got into an argument at a holiday party at Conan O'Brien's home Saturday evening. That has to be surreal for everyone that was there. I imagine that was not a small gathering. They go on to talk about, in addition to being a Hollywood legend, Rob Reiner was a political force and outspoken advocate. He did notably, to touch on politics ever so briefly, he did notably fight against Prop 8 in California, which had banned same-sex marriage and then was voted out. Michele Singer Reiner was a photographer and creative partner to Rob, influencing the ending of When Harry Met Sally. You guys, if you don't know Rob Reiner, you will know a lot of Rob Reiner's movies, especially depending on your generation. You will know him from everything from The Princess Bride and Spinal Tap to Misery, A Few Good Men, When Harry Met Sally, Stand By Me, Sleepless in Seattle, like all. In addition to also having an acting career. So they go on to say that Rob Reiner's son, Nick, was arrested on suspicion of murdering his parents after the Hollywood legend and his wife were found dead at their Brentwood home on Sunday, Brentwood, Los Angeles. They go on to say LAPD Chief Jim McDonnell said that officers responded to the Reiner home about 3:40 p.m. Nick Reiner, 32, was found in South Los Angeles near USC around 9:15 p.m. So many in Hollywood have said for a very long time nothing but lovely things about working with Reiner as an actor, as a director, lovely things about him and his wife. So again, when they talk about the celebrity in Hollywood being a small community, I'm not surprised that we are seeing so many speaking out about it because it is a very small community and I'm sure people are rattled. They go on to say that family friends told the LA Times that Rob and Nick got into an argument at a holiday party at Conan O'Brien's home, that Nick was acting strangely that evening. They note that he had a history of struggling with addiction, that he had talked about trashing his parents' guest house in an interview that was not too long ago. It goes on to say family friends who do not want to be identified because of the nature of the crime said that the Reiner's daughter was the first on scene Sunday afternoon. It's chilling and it makes me incredibly sad for her. Law enforcement told the LA Times that there was no sign of forced entry into the home in the 200 block of Chadbourne Avenue. Sources also said the Reiners had injuries consistent with being stabbed. Other reports have more information on that. I'm not going to get into it. The police and the DA's office did not wait for autopsies to be complete and did not need for autopsies to be complete to charge this, which says all that you need to know. They go on to say that Nick Reiner was not home when police arrived. Law enforcement sources said he was tracked down later that evening by officers with LAPD's Gang and Narcotics Division, along with the U.S. Marshals Fugitive Task Force. He is being held at LA County Jail without bail. I think bail had initially been set earlier and then was changed to no bail afterwards. We have more updated news on this because the case was set for arraignment this morning, but arraignments can be postponed. I think based on the headlines that I am seeing, that the arraignment probably was postponed. So we're going to go take a look at that. Nick Reiner not medically cleared to appear in court as prosecutors consider murder charges. That is not uncommon that somebody doesn't get transported to court. Family friends told the LA Times that Nick had been living in the guest house on his parents' property and that his mother had become increasingly concerned about his mental health in recent weeks. If there are mental health concerns, if there are withdrawal concerns, those will be treated before he goes to court. Those will be often in hospital and taken care of in hospital. Oftentimes they will trail that day by day. And if they trail that day by day, he will be treated at whichever medical facility and they will check in every day and the sheriff will come in and say he's not cleared to transport. And then they will just take it day by day by day. And so when will the arraignment be? We don't know. There's a lot else that is legally of import that can happen between now and then. So this is from earlier today. Nick Reiner retains high-profile defense attorney as murder charges are expected to be filed, has retained defense attorney Alan Jackson to defend him in connection with his parents' apparent murders. Jackson confirmed while being followed by a throng of media in the downtown Los Angeles criminal court building Tuesday. So yeah, Jackson's walking around CCB and everybody's like, hey, why are you here? So it says that Reiner was scheduled to appear in court Tuesday morning, according to jail records. But Jackson said his client had not been medically cleared to be transported from Men's Central. So he's in the medical unit there. They could move him out of the medical unit. Every inmate has to be medically cleared before they can be transported to court. He's not been medically cleared. Jackson declined to respond to questions about his client's mental health or physical condition. There is going to be charges filed at some point today. The question on the charges will be not just what degree of murder, but if there are any special circumstances that are charged, when they expect an arraignment to be held in court, and then where they go from there. What will Alan Jackson be focusing on with this case? Well, first of all, making sure that his client is medically stable to be transported to court, and then ascertaining what the evidence is. And then I imagine the next thing will be having a conversation with prosecutors to try to reduce all of this down or handle it before it ever goes to trial. Also, courthouses get very slow around the holidays. So yes, we might see an arraignment in the next few days, but I don't think we will see much more movement on this case until the new year, because Alan Jackson is going to want as much information as he can get to start talking to the district attorneys about distress, mental health, etc.
My name is Nathan Hochman. I'm the district attorney of Los Angeles County. Today, I'm here to announce that our office will be filing charges against Nick Reiner, who is accused of killing his parents, actor-director Rob Reiner, and photographer-producer Michele Singer Reiner. These charges will be 2 counts of first-degree murder with the special circumstance of multiple murders. So
they did add one special circumstance of multiple murder, which will account for the no bail hold.
With the special circumstance of multiple murders. He also faces a special allegation that he personally used a dangerous and deadly weapon, that being a knife. These charges carry a maximum sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole or the death penalty. No decision at this point has been made with respect to the death penalty. We have requested and currently...
Even though California has generally suspended carrying forward death penalties, there still can be death penalty prosecutions. The LADA's office has a very thorough standard operating procedure on how they go through determining if there is going to be a death penalty or not.
Once the charges get filed this afternoon, Nick Reiner will be then brought to court. He is going through medical clearance, something that everybody who gets arrested and gets held in a Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department jail goes through. Once he is medically cleared, he will be brought to court to be arraigned on these charges. At the appropriate time, the actual evidence involved in this case will be presented in a court of law. So I
That's
ask
what
for
I
your
said earlier
patience
today.
until that is done. But again, please do not rely on rank speculation, rumor, or hearsay to believe that you understand anything about what went on in this
Oh,
case.
that's strong.
I'd now like to turn it over to Chief McDonald.
On December 14th, 2025, LAPD officers from our West Los Angeles division responded to a death investigation at the 200 block of South Chadbourne Avenue, which is in the Brentwood section of Los Angeles. Upon entering the residence, they discovered the bodies of Mr. and Mrs. Reiner. Detectives from our Robbery Homicide Division Homicide Special Section immediately initiated a comprehensive investigation. The evidence gathered led to the arrest of their son, Nick Reiner, who was taken into custody later that night without incident in the Exposition Park section of our city. Today, the Los Angeles County
USC.
District's Attorney's Office has formally filed charges against Mr. Reiner for the murder of his parents. The LAPD remains steadfast in our mission to protect life and uphold justice. We will continue to support the Reiner family and ensure that every step forward is taken with care, dignity, and resolve. Thank you.
Hey, Leonard, if you are still thinking about the holidays and shopping for loved ones, friends, or yourself, it's time to check out OneSkin. OneSkin has launched incredible limited edition holiday sets. You can get the brand new peptide lip mask along with the facial moisturizer and an incredible metal gua sha tool that is so nice when you cool it. Not only does it feel lovely on the skin, but it is a great sculpting tool. We love a peptide lip mask using OneSkin's proprietary OS1 peptide that is in all of my favorite OneSkin products, including my beloved facial moisturizer and the body cream. The body cream is so popular at my house that Dr. B and I each have our own so that we don't fight over it. Did you know that OneSkin was also certified safe for sensitive skin? OneSkin products are free from over 1,500 harsh or irritating ingredients, dermatologist tested, and have been awarded the National Eczema Association Seal of Acceptance for delivering powerful results without the side effects. So if you want to check it out for yourself, Leonard, for a limited time, you can get 15% off OneSkin using code LEONARD. That's code LEONARD at oneskin.co/LEONARD, or just hit it down below. And if they ask where you heard about them, let them know it was The Emily Show. Case briefs. Let's get back to it. So at the end of the press conference regarding the charges being brought against Nick Reiner, he is being charged with 2 counts of murder, one for his father, one for his mother, and then each of those are special circumstance murder cases. The special circumstance that is being filed at this time is multiple murders, and there is an enhancement added to that, use of a deadly weapon. In this case, it was delineated as a knife. He will be transported to court when he is medically cleared for arraignment. When you see the media reporting it, they normally grab that information from the LA Sheriff's Department, who is in charge of the housing, and they will roll those court days over day to day. And then if he is transported to court, they will hold an arraignment. If he is not transported to court, it will roll to the next day until he is medically cleared to be arraigned. At the arraignment, Jackson could choose to ask for the arraignment to be put over, could have the arraignment, could ask for him to be sent out for an evaluation. We'll just have to wait and see what happens at the arraignment. And then the case will go through the discovery phase because this is being filed very close in time to when it happened. So the charging and the investigation are going to be moving forward simultaneously because they have enough, based on whatever information they have, to bring these charges now. But the investigation and the witness interviews and the gathering of digital evidence, even the autopsy, are still not completed yet. So this charge is being brought very close in time to when the crime happened, which means there is going to be a lot of behind the scenes between court dates for gathering information, completing of discovery, and then at some point the special cert committee will meet and decide if this case will be pursued as a special circumstance case or not. Different jurisdictions handle the way that they charge homicide cases differently. We saw and talked about this a lot in the Kohberger case with the things that become factors. And in the Kohberger case, we talked about those factors. In California, they call them special circumstances. So when they talk about this case being charged with 2 counts of murder, 1 for each victim, that is a first-degree murder with the special circumstance of multiple murder. There are other special circumstances in California that could be charged depending on what the facts are. When those special circumstances are charged, it takes it from being just a first-degree murder to a first-degree murder with special circumstances that then makes it eligible for the death penalty or for life without parole. That decision will be made later. And Alan Jackson or any defense attorney in Alan Jackson's position would look at this case and try to start bringing mitigating evidence and mitigating information to the district attorney's office. So he and his office will also start researching into Nick's background, his medical history, any history he has with mental health, his friends, family members that will speak to them. And they will also start potentially putting together what would be their presentation to a special cert committee saying, we would like you to consider these things. We are going to have to wait to see what the facts are. While cases are still actively developing in investigation, there is the dual purpose of law enforcement to make sure they preserve evidence, but also to preserve witness memory. They want to make sure that they are interviewing everyone that, I don't know how many people go to like Conan O'Brien's Christmas party, but they are going to want to interview everyone that was at that party and saw these parties interacting with each other before the media reporting taints or impacts their own memories. And so the media and law enforcement are a little bit at odds in this, where law enforcement wants the media to know less and the media wants to know everything and fill in the gaps and continue reporting on this story because of the intense, both local and national interest in it. But the issue is that if people who have experienced this tragedy are trying to navigate it, then if they are looking at the media, their own memories during this time can be impacted. So I can understand why law enforcement at these early stages in the investigation would really like less information to be out there. I understand why the media would really like more information to be out there. But at the end of the day, this will go through the court process. I agree with DA Hochman in that this will go through the court process. The facts will be presented. It's just going to take a little bit of time. As we look ahead in what comes next in this case, the court process is going to be arraignment. Yes, arraignment can be put over to another time, but arraignment, any evaluations that need to be done, any medical concerns. I say that because the defendant has not been medically cleared yet. It's Tuesday. He was arrested Saturday evening into Sunday morning. They are then going to do quite a lot of investigating. They are going to wait for the autopsies to be completed. They are going to go through discovery before they even get to a preliminary hearing. At some point, there will be a preliminary hearing, which is a preliminary presentation of the evidence to hold over the defendant for trial. After the preliminary hearing, then it will start the process for trial. I would imagine somewhere after the preliminary hearing, they would have a conference to determine what sentence they will seek when this goes to trial. And in all of that, the defense will be trying to talk to the district attorney's office about whether this needs to go to trial, whether this is a case that in some way can resolve, and what any resolution of that case might look like. Because depending on what the evidence is in a case, the role of the defense attorney is A, to make sure law enforcement and prosecutors do everything ethically and according to the Constitution, but also to try to resolve this as best as possible for their client. And sometimes that means going to trial. Sometimes that means not going to trial. There is a long process that is going to happen on this one. Information will come out in court. We will know more, of course, at the preliminary hearing. And I'm sure we will see that tension back and forth between the media and law enforcement and the district attorneys. It is going to be a difficult case as facts come out. I think there is a balance that the DA's office and law enforcement will try to strike. The media will fight back, but there is a balance to make sure that though there is intense public interest, if this is a case that goes to trial, that the potential jury pool in Los Angeles does not know everything about the case that could upend the ability to find a neutral, unbiased jury. We will be covering this case not day in and day out. We will be covering this case when there are new things that are known. Or the only or there is to that is if there is wild, rampant fuckery. Occasionally, I will put a note in the podcast that says there's a bunch of headlines saying this, that's not true. Occasionally we will just fact check headlines, but it's rare. I'm sure there is a lot of grief in Los Angeles. There is a heaviness to this case because the work of Rob Reiner and his wife touched so many. But I don't think it's just that in this case. I think that we have seen lots of headlines regarding the defendant who's been arrested here's struggle with addiction. There's been a lot of speculation on other struggles. I have not seen anything where I can confirm or deny that. I've seen snippets of Nick's interviews with regard to his own struggles with addiction, which touches so many lives as well. So there are a lot of things that will resonate with people. And waiting until we see all of the facts is going to be frustrating. What information can we glean from how quickly this went? Well, obviously the DA and law enforcement have more information than we do. They got probable cause to get a search warrant. Law enforcement was able to readily assess that this was a crime scene, that robbery homicide needed to be involved, and that they immediately needed to go and arrest the son, in this case, Nick. That happened very close in time, which means there is more information that we just do not have. But they do, because this was done very close in time. We are going to see more in the coming days when we get a coroner report back. Remember, we are also at the holidays. So things, even if expedited, the coroner, even if things seem like they are readily apparent, depending on the injuries to the victims, the coroner's office is still going to send out lab work. They are still going to do their process of the autopsy. That is also going to take time. And depending on what stage they are in with the prosecution, some of that information might be held back from the public. We just saw robbery homicide do that in the David investigation. However, charges haven't been filed there. Charges will be filed here. And the charges that are going to be filed here will be done by the end of the day, West Coast. The special circ charges warrant a no bail hold. I don't know if we will see Attorney Alan Jackson arguing for bail in this case or not. I think it is more likely that we will see Jackson addressing any concerns of medical, especially if there is any issues with narcotic use or potential withdrawal or anything like that. I think he would want to address that first. If there are any mental health concerns, he will address those things together before he would even start to address whether bail is appropriate. That we might see at a arraignment, or if the arraignment is put over, after the arraignment. So Alan Jackson showed up at court today to have his client arraigned by the court. That got put over because the client was not transported to court. They will update that at the end of the day, probably for tomorrow, and we will see if that happens tomorrow or if it gets pushed to the next day. Thanks for joining me. If you enjoyed this episode and don't want to miss updates on your favorite cases, you're going to need the Law Nerd app at lawnerd.com. That way you can stay in the loop on the cases that matter most to you, and you never know when you're going to catch feelings for a new case. So make sure you get it for free on iOS and Android. Thank you for being here, and thank you for being a Law Nerd.